Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Hello, hello, hello. What is new? You already know the drill. Drop a number one in that comment section pretty, please. Okay, if you don't mind. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's staying warm. I hope everybody is safe where you are. I've talked to so many of you today that live in places that normally, pardon me, that normally don't have the weather that we have. And it's crazy. All right, we got one. Thank you, Indy. I do appreciate it. Welcome, Indy, to the sofa, everybody. She's helping keep these sofa cushions fluffed. I hope you're doing well. Hey, everybody. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Gretchen. Hey, Mel. Hey, Tux. What's everybody up to? Hey, just a picky girl. Hey, Sandy. What's up? Let's see. Oh, hello, Emily. How are you, my lovely friend? I hope you're well. They all and welcome Emily to the sofa as well, if you will. Yeah, y'all. Emily and Andy get for real winter weather, y'all. I mean, for real. Okay. Gretchen, so we have like, and I've figured out a plan that we're gonna do tonight to like escalate and finish this because we need to finish it tonight, right? So we can like move on with life. First of all, I've gotten from several of y'all and then saw myself like the video that's been released that Justin's team released. I do want to talk about that and get your opinions on it. So we'll do that. So what we're gonna do is in a second we're gonna start, but I wanted to put, I can't believe I found this, y'all, on the U and the Tubes. Well, one of them's on Amazon because it made me then go down a rabbit hole. So I want to show y'all this real quick. So I was like, oh my God. Okay. Excuse me. If you were in the, I don't even know where we talked about it, but I'm pretty sure it was a live chat. Well, it had to be from this, right? Where I was talking about, oh, I used to do extra work and I was like naming the stuff off that I did or whatever. Okay, I found two examples of my momentary fleeting claims to fame. And so I got one pulled up and then one I can just like show you the screen because it will probably flag the video if I play it because it's on Amazon. But the other one's on YouTube and it's very quick or whatever. So I'm gonna pull it up and show it to you and then we'll get going. Now remember this is like 20 years ago, okay? So I look very different. Please hold. Okay. Now the volume's off on this. So this is having our, let me get to it. Where'd they go? This is having our say the Delaney sisters' first 100 years. Now, this is a schoolroom situation that you're watching. So when I press play, look at the guy walking up from behind them. I mean, it's literally just a quick second, y'all. Okay, where we go. Let me make it bigger. Hold on. That was it. That was it. Let's do it again. That was my claim to fame. Wait, here we go. Here it goes. Here it goes. Here I go again. There we go. Okay, here we go. I mean, I just walked out of there so professionally. Isn't that funny? So there was that. I thought that was funny. I was like, oh, I'll show that to y'all. We get a kick out of that. Hold on, where'd he go? And the other one, where's the other one? I think I got rid of the other one. I can't see. Oh, here we go. But yeah, I'm just gonna show you the picture of this, y'all, because this will like flag it or whatever. This is Patch Adams, and this is the scene that I was talking about where I walked by him. So I'm the guy, the blurry guy in the background. Yeah. That right there, that's me walking past him. UNC, claim to fame, right there. Okay, now let's get on with it. Okay, where we go? Where we go? Where we go? So let's get this back up. So we are. Where did y'all go? There's a documentary. The documentary. Let me make sure y'all can see the same thing. Let me pull myself up here too. Where am I? I'm trying to figure this out. So what we're going to do is this. I'm going to try and focus on just reading the text. Number one, my eyes are like dead right now. What I mean, I don't mean the text, but like the text beneath it right there, right? Oh my God, you have the same thing, Jazzy. Yes, Dolly. Yay. Oh, also, side note, while I'm getting this ready, have y'all read? It's really a self-help book. I would classify it as. I don't know what they call them these days. It's called Let Them. Have y'all read that or listened to it? It's good. It's like a theory or whatever. Like let them, let them, let them, let them. Okay, where did the page go? Oh, Emily, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. That's so sweet. And I know there's probably 10 people that are really excited. Remember now, if you for members and stuff like that, we're doing our members book club Saturday. It's either going to be at 6 or 8. I'm going to try and figure some stuff out to do a little bit earlier. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to find this again. I have so many tabs open. You would think that I would just, there we go. Oh my goodness. I don't know about y'all, but my eyes and well, wear your glasses, Paul. Yeah. My glasses are already expired. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't help. By the time the evening comes, my eyes are just tired. Okay, so 214. So we're page 131. It's 179 pages. We're going to really try and get through it. Okay. So in her final week, Abel contacted Jones's chief and staff concerning the release of her phone number. When Abel joined Jonesworks in 2020, she ported her existing phone number, which she had used since high school, and switched to a Jonesworks issued iPhone. Knowing that she would have to turn over her physical device upon her departure, Abel arranged for her phone number to be released so she could port it to a new device and retain decades worth of personal contacts, photos, private conversations with friends and family, and confidential financial data, and access accounts protected by two-factor authentication. Jonesworks chief of staff assured her multiple times in writing that Jonesworks would cooperate and uphold their agreement. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just reading like the things right here because trying to do the thing, it's like I just want to get through it. And the receipts are the pictures. We're just gonna read the words. On August 21st, 2024, 2 days before her last day, Abel pulled up the Jonesworks office, pulled up to it in Beverly Hills. There, she was confronted by a physically imposing security guard, a lawyer sitting at a conference table, and covered in documents, an IT professional and Jones's chief of staff who had flown unannounced from New York. Apart from Jones's chief of staff, Abel had never seen any of them before. After being ushered into the conference room, Abel saw that the security guard was posted just outside its doors, blocking the exit. There, the attorney pointed to the documents and told Abel in a menacing and cold tone to review and sign them. Their attorney told her that Jonesworks believed she had proprietary information on her personal laptop and would likely have grounds to sue if Abel did not allow them access. Completely caught off guard by this hostile and intimidating display, Abel fell into a state of shock. That's what I envisioned. She'd never experienced anything like this and didn't know what to do. Fearful that she would burst into tears and humiliate herself, which she knew is what Jones wanted, Abel disassociated. Knowing she had not done anything wrong and desperate to get out of there, Abel signed the documents without digesting their contents. Ooh, that's a bad thing in Hollywood right there now. Woo, 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 woo. Yikes-a-rama. Where'd we go? Now, there is somebody, and I can't remember if you're in here tonight, claim your fame, and if not, I just can't remember who it was last night, gave the context of why this is like super important and whatnot. And they spelled it out or whatever. Hey, Stephanie, happy birthday. I'm glad you're joining us. I hope you had a wonderful birthday. Hopefully a warm one wherever you're at. It seems that the rest of the, oh, there it is, Shannon. Okay. Shannon, do you mind again, like kind of me just dropping like a quick, like, this is the context here of this section? Honestly, I can't remember. Like, I can't remember. Like, I'm reading, I'm like, I know there was like this context that you dropped last night that had my mouth on the floor. I was like, oh, it's something about her taking a client like Justin over to here and this and that or whatever. So maybe some people are new in here or whatever. Yes, because Jennifer worked for Stephanie. Okay, I'm going to read here for a second. Yes, because Jennifer Abel worked for Stephanie Jones. Yeah, wait, hold on. Where is she guys? Where Jones? Okay. Hey, Lauren, how's it going? Happy birthday, She left the company and took Justin with her. And Stephanie remained on as Blake's PR person. Okay, so yes, there you go. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Obviously, keep spilling tea as much as you can. Now that I personally have the context again, I'm running back over there to read. Okay. Afterward, the lawyer demanded that Abel hand over her personal laptop. Abel complied, and the IT professional conducted a search that turned up nothing. The attorney then presented Abel with a list of approximately 10 documents and accused Abel of having accessed and stolen them. Abel denied having done so, and the IT specialist conducted a further search of her laptop, which again turned up nothing. The attorney then instructed Abel to hand over her phone, after which security would escort her out of the building. Still utterly shell-shocked and desperate to get out of there, Abel agreed to hand over her phone so long as they would confirm that Jonesworks would immediately release her personal cell phone, her cell phone number, which would enable Jonesworks to take possession of the physical device without gaining unrestrained access to its contents. It would also allow Abel to get a new phone and move on with her life without undue disruption. After express confirmation from the Jonesworks chief of staff and attorney, Abel handed them the phone and was ushered out of the building as her colleagues watched in disbelief. Seeing that Abel had been stripped of her phone and therefore had no way to contact anyone, someone reached out to Abel's partner, family, friends, and former coworkers to let them know what had happened. You would think, okay, just pause for a second. You would think she was sneaking out of Area 51 with the DNA code to extraterrestrial life from 10,000 galaxy million miles away, right? You would think it was that serious. Okay. I mean, I'm what, like all this right here. I'm like, if they don't find alien technology combinations and whatever that means, I don't know, something of that magnitude on this computer, I don't know what I do. I don't know what I do, but it needs to be that serious, right? I mean, this is insane. Like, I think because, like, y'all know me probably at this point, like, if I walked into that, I get where, I mean, I would be shocked too, but I think I would like burst out laughing because of like the absolute absurdity and nervousness and like just over the top of it. I wouldn't know what to do except just like burst out laughing, right? That's just how I handle it. Okay, let's keep going. Abel went straight to Verizon's store a short distance away. Once there, Verizon contacted Jonesworks to coordinate the release and transfer. The Jonesworks chief of staff assured Abel and Verizon that they were in the process of effectuating the release and to bear with them for a few minutes. Abel never heard from him again. After 4 hours of desperate unanswered calls, Abel left Verizon in a panic and despair. Abel realized Jones had double-crossed her in a very serious way. By refusing to release Abel's phone number, Jonesworks had usurped her contact information and cut off Abel's access to critical accounts protected by two-factor authentication linked to that phone number. As a result, Abel lost access to her iCloud, including all her messages, phones, contacts, bank accounts, utilities, insurance, and virtually every other sensitive account. By contrast, Jones now had unrestricted access to everything stored on Abel's phone. Text messages, emails, personal photos. Jones could read her communications with her fiance, parents, friends, everyone. Jones was acting purely out of spite. Now, this would be like, oh my gosh, I mean, this is so out of line. Completely. It took Abel over a month to regain control over all her accounts. Meanwhile, she learned that Jones had been sharing her private text messages with the entire office, mocking and disparaging her. Having torched Abel's privacy and dignity, Jones started boasting that Abel's business was next. In or around early September 2024, Jones warned a departing employee not to work for Able because her business wouldn't be around much longer. That is absolutely next level. Okay, can you imagine the audacity? I mean, I feel like, isn't that like against the law what she did? Surely there's a lawsuit against her too. Surely, right? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, Jay, Stephanie Jones falls out with Wayfarer and Baldoni. Well, imagine that. By then, hold on. By then, Jones had an axe to grind with Wayfarer. For the entirety of Wayfarer's 4-year engagement with Jonesworks, Abel was the point person on the account. Jones was more concerned with prestige clients like Tom Brady and devoted little to Wayfarer or Baldoni. But Jonesworks was in utter turmoil by July 2024. Already bleeding clients and personnel, Jones learned that Business Insider was working on an unflattering story about her set to be published sometime in August, as they need to be. Her reputation had already been severely damaged by the Stephanie Jones Leaks website and social media accounts. Jones was desperate to keep her remaining clients. Given Abel's close relationship with Wayfarer and Baldoni, Jones was undoubtedly concerned they would leave Jonesworks alongside her, and she wanted to make sure that did not happen. At the time, Wayfarer and Baldoni were in the midst of a massive PR crisis. As the news stories began to trickle out concerning tension between Lively and Baldoni, just as the film was about to premiere, Jones started participating in meetings, calls, and written correspondence to reassert her authority over the account and convey her engagement to Wayfarer. Abel recommended that Wayfarer engage in a crisis PR specialist, Melissa Nathan, to assist in navigating these choppy waters. The need for crisis PR expertise was particularly acute, due to Lively's demand that Baldoni not be permitted to attend the premiere. In addition, Abel learned from Nathan that per her media contacts, a negative story was being shopped around to multiple outlets, positioning Baldoni's religion as a cult and accusing Baldoni of having fat shamed Lively. We're just going to jump over these and just get to the meat of it. When Jones learned that Wayfarer was considering retaining Nathan, she was furious. Jones viewed Nathan as a competitor and conveyed to April that her recommendation to Wayfarer was a betrayal of trust. I love that she actually would say that, like, that Jones has the, I don't even know what you would call it to even accuse somebody else of that. Okay, Jones then sought to derail the plan, bad-mouthing Nathan and disclosing client confidences from past collaborations between Jonesworks and Nathan. While Heath acknowledged Jones's position, he told her Wayfarer would make its own decision after meeting Nathan. So Jones inserted himself into the mix in early 2024 August, seeking to box out Nathan and Abel. The problem, however, was that Jones had chosen not to be privy to Wayfarer's leadership, communications, strategy, or internal decision-making, having long claimed to be too busy with higher-profile clients. Wayfarer was fine with Jones's disengagement as Abel was their trusted advisor, and they had no interest in being a pawn in Jones's office politics. In addition, Jones had chosen to take a lengthy vacation in Europe during this critical period of the press campaign and premiere the film. Even from afar, Jones's efforts were ham-fisted, unwelcome, and sporadic given her distance from Wayfarer's day-to-day business. As Jones tried to stir up drama and undermine Abel's authority, Wayfarer and Baldoni were focused solely on managing the crisis in front of them. At the time, Lively and Baldoni's teams had negotiated an uneasy truce in which neither side would participate in negative coverage of the other. Lively's team had already broken that truce, but the Wayfarer team did not know that then. As far as they were concerned, it was best for Baldoni, Lively, and the film if both sides agreed to keep the peace. Though Wayfarer's team had to date had to date been acting only in defense, responding to press inquiries. But on August 8th, 2024, Jones, in another desperate attempt to reinsert herself, contacted a Daily Mail reporter about a story they had published about Baldoni and Lively. She did so in direct violation of Abel's instruction not to talk to the press, given that the truce with Lively's team. Nonetheless, Jones bragged to Wayfarer about trading calls with the Daily Mail in an effort to appear engaged on the account. Hold on one second. So this is just Daily Mail talking about, what about them not posing at the event, whatnot. Okay. This blatant disregard of Wayfarer's strategy sparked a chain of unfortunate developments. Sloan and Sony learned that someone from Baldoni's team had been communicating negatively to the media. It was clearly Jones, and Wayfarer's leadership was livid, as was Sony. All parties were desperate to prevent an all-out slugfest between Lively and Baldoni just as the film was about to be released to the world. With her reckless and unauthorized activities, Jones had made that scenario much more likely. In response, Wayfarer instructed Jones to cease all activities on behalf of Wayfarer and Baldoni for the time being, and to let Abel and another LA-based Jonesworks employee, Matthew Mitchell, handle the crisis alongside Nathan. At this time, Nathan started hearing from other journalists that Sloan was planting negative stories about Baldoni and was under the impression that Baldoni's camp had broken the truce. Anxious Sony executives began reaching out to Wayfarer seeking clarity. Again, it's just all that. Yet, Jones panicked about being blamed, refused to be sidelined, insisting that she needed to contact Sony's and Lively's PR teams to clarify that she had not planted any negative stories about Lively. Heath told her not to do that, to which Jones responded that she could do whatever she wants and to clear her name, and that Wayfarer can't stop her from making calls. Desperate to salvage her reputation with Lively and Sony, Jones emailed a number of key Sony execs working on the film to declare that she was in Europe with her husband and partner at WME, Jason Hodes. And placing all the blame on her team in an attempt to save face, Jones ruptured her relationship with Wayfarer and Baldoni. I mean, this is just a ticking time bomb. I mean, literally self-imploding everywhere she goes. I don't know how she made it in the business this long. Although Jones ultimately agreed to stand down, Wayfarer and Baldoni had lost all trust in her. After parachuting in for self-interested reasons, nearly blowing up the truce with Lively's team, and lashing out when told to stop, Jones became a magnet for drama when it was least needed. But Jones was not ready to throw in the towel. Ironically, given her later attempt to fabricate a smear campaign narrative, it was Jones, not Wayfarer, Baldoni, Abel, or Nathan, who started advocating for a more aggressive public relations team. Please hold. On or about August 14th, Jones sent an email to Heath further elaborating on her recommended strategy. Flood zones with positives. We need to ensure that we promote positive narratives that media outlets can't ignore. Currently, most stories are heavily biased towards Blake's perspective, leaving Justin unrepresented. It's crucial that we fight for every inch of every story, which requires far more effort than typical crisis PR want to put forth in our experience working with specialized crisis teams. Prepare alternate stories. We should mobilize a robust network of supporters and third-party advocates ready to counter these narratives on deep background as well as some of the record, making it clear that the claims being made are untrue and unfounded. I mean, have y'all ever seen so much? This is insane. This is crazy. The in-depth pre-plotting. Like, I can't with this. Okay, and Lauren brings up a good point. Lauren says, this has really opened my eyes to how much behind the scenes manipulation of public opinion goes on. Just make the darn movies and let the people decide if we like them. I mean, seriously. This is wild. So I'm just flabbergasted with it. Okay, let's keep going. She doubled down in an email on August 21st, 2024, threatening the Wayfarer and Baldoni had an exclusive contract to the 2025 May. This is just the thing here. Going over that. Now, as September drew near, Wayfarer and Baldoni, with the assistance of Abel and Nathan, continued their tireless efforts to promote the film, put out fires, and see the project through to the finish line. Stewing in jealousy towards Abel and resentment towards Wayfarer Baldoni, Jones clearly saw the writing on the wall. Knowing she would soon be terminated, Jones started taking steps transparently intended to make it harder to cut her loose. Those steps included sending email after unwelcome email to heathen others, long after the relationship had irrevocably ruptured, to lay the groundwork to contest that she had been detached from non-responsive for years. This was especially galling, as Jones had been in Europe and largely incommunicado, save for her disastrous efforts at self-preservation, for weeks during the critical month of August when the film premiered. For Wayfarer and Baldoni, the decision was straightforward. As soon as Abel was out at Jonesworks, Wayfarer was out too. This is not about Abel poaching Wayfarer Baldoni, nor is it part of a premeditated plan to cut Jonesworks, but Abel was a trusted, loyal, and committed member of the team. Wherever she went, Wayfarer and Baldoni would follow. On the other hand, Jones was a walking disaster whose self-absorption, disloyalty, and insubordination had been a significant headache. That's the thing, but it's like, obviously she doesn't even realize that. Like, she's just going to keep doing. I mean, maybe her and Blake need to be friends. Rather than accepting the end of the relationship with professionalism and decorum, Jones started threatening to sue, demanding exorbitant payment for work not done, and protesting that she had done an amazing job. But Wayfarer and Baldoni had already made the decision to part ways with Jonesworks, and their decision was final. For Jones, stewing in indignity and resentment, the loss of yet another client, to Abel no less, was a sting too great to bear, and so she chose to take revenge on all of them. Recall that Jones had taken possession of Abel's personal phone, including all text messages, emails, personal photos, and so forth. Having chosen a path of no return, she could now exploit them to great effect, pouring gasoline over the heads of her former clients and longtime former deputy and lighting a match. On information and belief, Jones approached Lively's team with an appealing offer: ammunition sufficient to destroy Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Abel in one fell swoop. Wielding reams of Abel's private communications, which could readily be sliced and diced to construct a false narrative, Jones had quite the pitch for an embattled Lively and her team. Knowing that Lively was convinced, wrongly, that Baldoni, and not her off-putting public appearances and cynical self-promotion, had been responsible for the rash of negative publicity directed towards her, Jones correctly assumed that she would find willing conspirators in a Lively camp. In turning over the materials to Lively, Jones knew full well that the blowback would also engulf Wayfarer and Baldoni, and that was the point: revenge. Her plan worked like a charm, at least for a time. Working hand in glove with the New York Times, Lively concocted a fantastical narrative that laid the blame for her travails exactly where she believed it belonged, with others. The ramifications of the scheme had been grave for Wayfarer, Baldoni, Abel, and Nathan, who became objects of public scorn and desertion overnight. Abel and Nathan, two private individuals and female small business owners, have had their lives turned upside down. Their careers and reputations have been destroyed, their private information leaked, and their email inboxes and social media pages filled with a daily stream of death threats, abuse, and vile anti-Semitic marks. The backlash against Wayfarer and Baldoni has been equally devastating, with Baldoni wrongfully labeled as a S-pest, his accolades rescinded, and his future projects thrown into doubt. And Jones still has all of Abel's private photos and text messages, which Abel has every reason to believe will find their way online via Jones. Some already have. She lives in fear of what Joan has in store for her and what other client confidences Joan is willing to divulge, and her fit of pique at Abel. All of this because Abel dared to leave Jonesworks and start her own business. The results have been a calamity for everyone roped into Lively and Jones's campaign of destruction. Okay, let me get a sip of water and pause for a second. I don't know what to say. I mean, the amount of energy and hatred and like just pure bitterness of this, I mean, this is insane. Imagine this is what like headed off to work today, and this is what you deal with. Like this is what you deal with. I can't. Okay, let's keep going. Lively and Reynolds threaten plaintiffs unless they take the fall. August 12th, 2024, Heath and Abel had a call with two executives from their then talent agency. One admitted that the root of Lively's problems was focusing the promotion of the film on frivolities like fabulous premiere dresses, Hollywood glamour, and the commercial benefits for Lively's brands, while Baldoni had always maintained his public focus on amplifying the voices of domestic violence survivors. Now, from what I've seen, Baldoni was promoting an alcoholic beverage line and then a hair care product. Y'all correct me if there's more. And this was also very off-putting to people because a lot of people felt like, this is about, domestic violence. Number one, why are you promoting alcohol and having alcohol at these events? That's like a direct thing, this tied in with domestic violence a lot of times. So there was like this level of tone deafness. Then also, as we've seen, she took control of the wardrobe stuff and like was just doing it. I saw somebody in the comment section today talking about she wants to be Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City so bad. And to me, I was like, yes, that is 100% what's going on. It's like, to me, like when you look at, because people are like, what is she wearing? Like she pulls you out of the illusion of the fourth wall, whatever you want to call it, with these outfits and stuff. And I was like, yeah, she to me looks like she wants to be Carrie Bradshaw. The main character from one of the main characters from Sex and the City. Real life. Wait, let's keep going. Okay, where did we go? I'm trying to find out. Okay, here we go. The executive communicated the demand from Lively and Reynolds that Wayfarer, Heath, and Baldoni make a public apology that day, and that if they failed to do so, the gloves would come off. Stunningly, the executive even told Heath and Abel that Lively and Reynolds objected when Baldoni spoke kindly of Lively in public, claiming that it misrepresented their relationship. The talent agency executive told Heath and Abel that Lively believed Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath were waging a shadow campaign against her. Abel quickly disabused the executives of that notion, conveying her belief that she and Sloan had reached a kind of truce. While Nathan had not come on the team or taken a proactive role until they started getting press requests. The second executive admitted on the call that no one pushes back on Lively and Reynolds. The next day, on August 13th, 2024, Abel and Heath had another phone call with talent agency execs. During this call, one executive told Heath that the agency had spoken to Lively and Reynolds by phone about the overwhelming tide of negative publicity that they had faced over the past days. Heath clarified that Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath had no connection to the negative publicity, but they told Heath that Lively and Reynolds had demanded that Wayfarer put out a statement accepting blame for the problems during filming, with an express threat that they themselves would attack Wayfarer in the press if Wayfarer refused. The executives told Heath and Abel that Reynolds and Lively dictated a statement that they required Wayfarer to put out, calling It Ends With Us a troubled production, and forcing Wayfarer to take accountability for the problems in the production. Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath would have to acknowledge and own their mistakes and own all negativity being aimed at Reynolds and Lively. I mean, they literally went in, dropped a bomb on the production. Then they're looking around at all the casualties and they're like, well, we're not taking responsibility. Somebody else better come in here and do this. I mean, just like, again, unbridled power. It's giving Jody Hildebrandt. It's giving Ruby. Okay. Abel and Heath asked the executives to clarify what exactly Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath were being asked to take accountability for. They admitted that Lively and Reynolds were simply upset by how social media had turned against them. Stunningly, the executive admitted that Lively and Reynolds brought the backlash on themselves, but that they were beyond reasoning with. He admitted that making constant threats was Lively and Reynolds' well-known modus operandi, and that their demands were not based on reality, but on finding someone to blame for their social media crisis besides themselves. Grown adults here. Lively plays the final card in her hand, false accusations of a smear campaign deployed in the New York Times. When plaintiffs refused to take the fall for Lively's disastrous promotional campaign, Lively was true to her word. The gloves came off. Months after the film's premiere, December 21st, a bombshell article dropped in the New York Times, authored in part by Megan Twohey, who gained prominence for her expose of Harvey Weinstein. The article's headline promised a glimpse into a Hollywood smear campaign. We can buy anyone inside a Hollywood smear campaign. Hold on. Luke, what you doing? Luke. It's that hour. The article purported to provide a detailed account of a calculated campaign to bring down Lively and retaliation for daring to speak out against harassment on the set of It Ends With Us. The article draws heavily from the California Civil Rights Department complaint that was filed by Lively the day before. The CRD complaint and the article are both purportedly based on thousands of pages of text messages and email that Lively obtained through a subpoena. The article notes these and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. The 4,000 plus words of the New York Times article dropped less than a day after Lively apparently filed her CRD complaint. The close coordination between Lively's team and the New York Times, likely over a matter of months before the CRD complaint was filed, is plain. The article refers to the 17-point letter of production conditions that Lively insisted upon. While the reasons for making many of those demands were mystifying to plaintiffs at the time, once the article was published, it became clear that Lively had seeded her revenge more than a year before. Hold on one second. By insisting on the superfluous, how do you say that word, or already extant protections, Lively laid the foundation for her baseless claims of pervasive harassment. When she buffaloed plaintiffs into agreeing, she sealed the perfect narrative poison pill, allowing her to later claim that plaintiffs' agreement to the 17-point letter was positive proof that harassment was endemic on the film set. But Lively had to explain away the self-inflicted mountain of bad press she had brought down on herself, as discussed elsewhere herein. Finally, Jones's wrongfully obtained text could be deployed for maximum damage. On information and belief, Lively and her team used cherry-picked text messages, stripped of context, and even manipulated to peddle a narrative that plaintiffs have responded to Lively's complaints about purported harassments by plotting to destroy her reputation through a shadow smear campaign. Apparently, New York Times credulously accepted the narrative wholesale while making little or no attempt to investigate the veracity of that narrative. By telling the New York Times a false and damning story about an insidious PR sabotage operation deployed as revenge for harassment complaints with the knowledge and intent that the newspaper would publish the false story, Lively and her co-conspirators committed the tort of defamation. For example, hold on one second. Let me get some water here real quick. Okay, here we go. For example, Lively's CRD complaint, which on information and belief she provided to the New York Times long before filing it, references text exchange between Nathan and Abel as purported evidence that Nathan planted a negative story in the Daily Mail titled, "Is Blake Lively Set to Be Canceled?" Lively's portrayal is categorically false, misleading, and devoid of factual basis, yet knowingly propagated to the Times. Lively's smear campaign hinges on an August 16th text exchange in which Nathan allegedly shared a link to this article with Abel. The text exchange shows Abel responding, "Wow," followed by, "You really outdid yourself with this one," to which Nathan allegedly replied, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." These messages constitute the entirety of the purported evidence underlying the allegation of a smear campaign. orchestrated on behalf of Baldoni. But the information Lively fed to the New York Times was apparently selectively and deceptively edited, resulting in a gross misrepresentation that actually reversed the sarcastic meaning and tone of the messages. So this is again where they're showing include. I mean, this is again where this is like the kind of attention that needs to be put into like Area 51 alien technology stuff. I mean, this is crazy. Okay. Lively, who apparently collaborated closely with New York Times on the article covering her CRD complaint, must have known that the text messages were unscrupulously altered and selectively edited, enabling Lively and her team to propound a false smear campaign narrative designed to destroy plaintiffs for the Times, knowing or reckless dissemination, specifically in the immediately preceding text message exchange on August 16th. Nathan forwarded a screenshot of a message from a reporter informing her for the first time of the Daily Mail article. In response, Nathan wrote, "Damn, this is not fair because it's also not me," followed by, "Everything now looks like it's me." Perhaps unknowingly, Nathan was already anticipating the accusations that would soon be leveled against her and her fellow plaintiffs. Hold on. Further evidence of Lively's machinations appear in the missing emoji heard around the world. After Nathan forwarded a screenshot of the article link, April responded with, "You really outdid yourself with this piece," adding it to indicate the sarcastic nature of her message. The blank emoji is commonly used to convey irony, sarcasm, joking, or a sense of goofiness or silliness. I didn't know that. I'm glad I learned something new. I've learned a lot of things new in this. In her CRD complaint, apparently in the material she forwarded to the Times for their uncritical publication, Lively deliberately excluded not only the preceding screenshot of the text exchange in which Nathan denies involvement in the story, but also the upside down emoji, fundamentally and willfully altering the sarcastic tone of Abel's message to mislead the reader into interpreting Abel's response as literal and sincere. This omitted context is critical. Oh, pardon me, as it demonstrates that each subsequent message in the exchange was similarly intended as sarcasm, including Nathan's statement. "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." I'm the best. Further review of the text message exchange, also excluded from both Lively's CRD complaint and the Times article, unequivocally shows that Abel and Nathan were engaging in a sarcastic and joking manner, as evidenced by the use of the haha tap back reaction. When read in full, the exchange reveals Nathan and Abel engaging in factious, how do you say that? Wry banter bordering on gallows humor in response to their predicament, not conspiring against Lively. Lively, and in turn the Times, misrepresented these communications to support her salacious and unfounded smear campaign narrative. This calculated distortion underscores Lively's duplicity. Any negative press about Lively was unequivocally a consequence of her own actions. Even the Times itself acknowledged Lively's public missteps in an August 17th, 2024 article titled, "It Ends With Us, the Press Tour Drama Explained." In it, reporter Shivani Gonzalez observed, Lively's promotion of the movie has included a push for her new hair care line, discussion of the clothes in the movie, and response to questions about abuse, which have been criticized as shallow and tone deaf. Baldoni, by contrast, has emphasized the importance of raising awareness of domestic violence, providing resources for those in similar situations. They just go into all these little citations here, and all this right here, and all this right here. Okay. As noted elsewhere herein, Lively's marketing efforts, which included encouraging audiences to grab your friends, wear your florals, while promoting her hair care and alcohol brands, were widely criticized as insensitive. This was particularly glaring given the well-known links between domestic violence and alcohol consumption. Her actions naturally triggered organic public criticism and unleashed a cycle of negative coverage, including, as is common in the digital age, the resurfacing of old, unflattering content. And then it's just going into other stuff. Far from being the product of a calculated smear campaign by plaintiffs, The backlash against Lively was inevitable fallout of her own mercenary messaging and self-promotional tactics, amplified by her inability to read the room in addressing such a serious subject. The contemporaneous communications of plaintiffs show a growing awareness that they were being set up to be blamed for Lively's disastrous missteps. Now, this is just going into the receipts. I mean, just going on. Yeah, this is all from Jen, these people that we've heard about. While they became increasingly concerned at the finger pointing aimed their way, plaintiffs still found the time to be gracious around the few media wins Lively could tally. And it just lists some examples of that. Plainly, defendants had thousands of text messages and communications. They had all the pieces put together what really happened, and they would not even have had to search particularly hard to do so. They chose not to because they did not serve the goal of trashing plaintiffs and the ultimate power play by wealthy celebrities who have not heard the word no for decades. Amen. Say it louder for the people in the back. I mean, that right there is exactly what's going on. The bottom of the case is a simple one. Lively used her power to steal a movie from its director and production studio. Then she held them hostage to her incessant demands by extortionate threats to destroy what they had left. All the while, she failed to understand the heart and soul of the movie she stole and the book it was based on, let alone the intensely personal impact the book had on millions worldwide. When her thoughtless promotions fell flat because they focused on flowery glamour and cross-merchandising opportunities for her own brands, rather than on centering the voices of survivors, she finally got a taste of accountability, and she did not care for it. She made one final demand to plaintiffs that they finally and forever fall on the sword for her by apologizing for things they had not done, killing their future prospects in the process. When they refused, defendants' clubs came off and they used their power and resources to try to take down plaintiffs for good by coordinating with Jones and Sloan, master practitioners of the dark arts of public relations. In an intricately planned character assassination plot, they nearly pulled it off too. Defendants have cost plaintiffs their film, their reputations, their future prospects, even their talent agency. It's time to rebalance the scales. Go on now. Parties. Plaintiff Wayfarer Studios LLC and all its relevant times herein was a Delaware LLC company with its principal place of business in LA, California. None of Wayfarer members are citizens of New York. All of Wayfarer members are citizens of California. Justin Baldoni is, and at all relevant times herein, an individual residing in Los Angeles. Plaintiff Jamie Heath is, and at all relevant times herein was, an individual residing in LA. Plaintiff It Ends With Us Movie LLC is a California limited liability company. It's business in California. I'm just going to kind of get through these right here. No members are citizens of New York. All members of It Ends With Us Movie are citizens of California. Plaintiff Melissa Nathan is, and at all relevant times herein was, an individual residing in LA, California. Plaintiff Jennifer Abel is, in all relevant times, an individual residing in California, Los Angeles, California. Blake Lively is an individual residing in New York, New York. Ryan Reynolds is an individual residing in New York, New York. Defendant Leslie Sloan is an individual residing in New York, New York. Defendant Vision PR is or was a New York corporation with a principal place of business in New York, New York. Jurisdiction and venue. This just goes into the jurisdiction. The court has original jurisdiction over the claims for relief asserted in this cross complaint because the matter in controversy exceeds the sum of $75,000, exclusive of interest and cost, and no defendant is a citizen of the same state as any plaintiff. The court may exercise personal jurisdiction over defendants pursuant to 301 of the New York Civil Practice Law and Rules because all defendants systemically and continuously conduct and solicit business within New York and have availed themselves of the privileges of conducting business in the state of New York. The court may exercise personal jurisdiction over defendants pursuant to 302 of the New York Civil Practice Law and Rules, including because, upon information and belief, all defendants transact and solicit business within the state, have committed the tortious acts described in this complaint within the state and or have committed such acts outside of the state causing injury to plaintiff within the state. Okay, there's that. First cause of action, civil extortion. Let's get to this. Against Lively, Reynolds, Sloan, and Vision. Plaintiffs hereby repeat, reiterate, reallege, and incorporate by reference each and every allegation of the complaint as if set forth fully herein. Defendants made threats to plaintiffs that they knew to be wrong, including threats to breach contracts, defame plaintiffs, and injure. Defendants' threats included demands that money, property, services, or other services of value be conferred upon defendants without consideration or contractual entitlement thereto. Plaintiffs complied with the wrongful demands. Plaintiffs were harmed. Defendants' wrongful threats and demands were a substantial factor in causing plaintiffs harm. Upon information and belief, each of the defendants was aware that the others planned to commit the tort of extortion against plaintiffs, and that each of the defendants agreed with one another and intended that the wrongful acts pleaded herein be committed. Accordingly, each of the defendants is equally liable to plaintiffs for the tort of extortion by reasoning of their conspiracy to commit the tort. Defendants have engaged in the above alleged conduct with oppression, fraud, and malice. Accordingly, plaintiffs are entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages in an amount to be provided or proved at trial. Second cause of action, defamation against Lively, Reynolds, Sloan, and Vision. Plaintiffs hereby repeat, reiterate, reallege, and incorporate by reference each and every allegation of the complaint as set forth fully herein. Defendants made one or more statements to persons other than plaintiffs, including without limitation to the New York Times, to the effect that plaintiffs engaged in, permitted, and or failed to prevent as inappropriate conduct toward Lively and others, and that plaintiffs retaliated against Lively for others for reporting the alleged as misconduct, including by propagating false and misleading narratives about Lively for the purpose of damaging her image and reputation. The persons to whom defendants made these statements reasonably understood that these statements were made about plaintiffs. The statements made by defendants were intended to and did have the effect of exposing plaintiffs to hatred, contempt, ridicule, obloquy, or of causing them to be shunned or avoided, or of having a tendency to injure them in their occupations. Specifically, the persons to whom defendants made the statements reasonably understood the statements to mean that plaintiffs engaged in, permitted, and or failed to prevent as inappropriate conduct toward Lively and others, and that plaintiffs retaliated against Lively and others for reporting the alleged as misconduct, including by propagating false and misleading narratives about Lively for the purpose of damaging her image and reputation. The statements made by defendants about plaintiffs were false. Furthermore, defendants knew the statements were false or had serious doubts about the truth of the statements. Defendants' false statements about plaintiffs to third parties were a substantial factor in causing harm to plaintiff's property, business, trade, profession, and or occupation. Expenses plaintiffs had to pay as a result of the defamatory statements, harm to plaintiffs' reputations, and with respect to Baldoni, Heath, Shane, mortification. To Baldoni and Heath, shame, mortification, and hurt feelings. Upon information and belief, each of the defendants was aware that the others planned to commit the tort of defamation against plaintiffs, and that each of the defendants agreed with one another and intended that the wrongful acts pleaded herein be committed. Accordingly, each of the defendants is equally liable to the plaintiffs for the tort of defamation by reason of their conspiracy to commit the tort. Defendants have engaged in the above alleged conduct with oppression, fraud, malice. Accordingly, plaintiffs are entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages, an amount to be proved at trial. Let me get a sip of water here. False light invasion of privacy, third cause of action by Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel against Lively, Reynolds, Sloan, and Vision. Plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel hereby repeat, reiterate, reallege, and incorporate by reference each and every allegation of the complaint as if set forth fully herein. As alleged herein above, defendants Lively, Reynolds, Sloan, and Vision publicly disclosed information or material regarding plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel's professional decisions, moral character, private life, and family, which showed Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel in a false light. The false light created by the disclosures of the defendant would be highly offensive and objectionable to a reasonable person in the plaintiff's position, and that it made Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel the objects of scorn, pity, ridicule, humiliation, and other suffering. These defendants knew the public disclosures would create a false impression about Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel, or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. As a direct proximate result of the said publicity and false and misleading disclosures, Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel sustained harm, including to their businesses and professions, as well as their reputations. Further, Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel have suffered and continue to suffer from grief, anxiety as a result of the wanton destruction of their public reputations and characters. As a further and direct proximate result of the said disclosures, plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel have suffered loss of income and interference with further income. The conduct of defendants described herein was a substantial factor in causing the plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel's harm, constituted a serious invasion of their rights to privacy, and was an egregious breach of social norms that shocks the conscience. Upon information and belief, each of the defendants was aware that the others planned to commit the tort of false light invasion of privacy against the plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel, and that each of the defendants agreed with one another and intended that the wrongful acts pleaded herein be committed. Accordingly, each of the defendants is equally liable to plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel for the tort of false light invasion of privacy by reason of their conspiracy to commit the tort. Defendants have engaged in the above alleged conduct with oppression, fraud, and malice. Accordingly, the plaintiffs Baldoni, Heath, Nathan, and Abel are entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages in the amount to be proved at trial. The fourth cause of action is a breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing against Lively. The plaintiffs hereby repeat, reiterate, reallege, and incorporate by reference each and every allegation of the complaint as if set forth fully herein. Lively and plaintiffs entered into a contract by which Lively agreed to perform as an actor in the film It Ends With Us. Plaintiffs did all or substantially all of the significant things that the contract required them to do, or in the alternative, plaintiffs were excused from having to do those things. All of the conditions required, if any, for Lively's performance had occurred, or, in the alternative, were excused. Lively engaged in conduct that prevented plaintiffs from receiving the benefits contemplated under the contract. Specifically, Lively interfered with the production by making repeated threats and demands in order to seize creative control over the production, editing, and marketing of the film, such that the defendants were deprived of the opportunity to produce, edit, and market a film as contemplated by the contract. By doing so, Lively did not act fairly and in good faith. Plaintiffs were harmed by Lively's conduct. The fifth cause of action, intentional interference with contractual relations against Reynolds and Lively. Plaintiffs repeat, reiterate, reallege, and incorporate by reference each and every allegation of the complaint as if set forth fully herein. There is a contract between plaintiffs and William Morris Endeavor. Defendants Lively and Reynolds knew of the contract. Defendants Lively and Reynolds prevented performance of the contract or made performance more expensive or difficult. Specifically, upon information and belief, Lively and Reynolds made threats and or demands to induce WME to cease performing under its contract with plaintiffs. Lively and Reynolds intended to disrupt the performance of this contract, knew the disruption of the performance was certain or substantially certain to occur. Plaintiffs were harmed. Defendant's conduct was a substantial factor in causing the plaintiffs harm. Upon information of belief, each of the defendants, Lively and Reynolds, were aware that the others planned to commit the tort of intentional interference with contractual relations against plaintiffs, and that each of the aforementioned defendants agreed with one another and intended that the wrongful acts pleaded herein be committed. Accordingly, each of the aforementioned defendants is equally liable to plaintiffs for the tort of intentional interference with contractual relations by reason of their conspiracy to commit the tort. Defendants Lively and Reynolds have engaged in the above alleged conduct with oppression, fraud, malice. Accordingly, plaintiffs are entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages that will be proved at court. The sixth cause of action: intentional interference with prospective economic advantage. This is against Reynolds and Lively. The first one is the same thing we read each time. Plaintiffs and WME were in an economic relationship that probably would have resulted in an economic benefit to plaintiffs. Defendants Lively and Reynolds knew of the relationship. Lively and Reynolds engaged in wrongful conduct, specifically by making threats or demands that WME terminate its economic hardship with the plaintiffs. By engaging in this conduct, the defendants intended to disrupt the relationship, or, in the alternative, knew that disruption of the relationship was certain and substantially certain to occur. The relationship was disruptive. Plaintiffs were harmed. Defendants' conduct was a substantial factor in causing the plaintiffs harm. Upon information and belief, each of the defendants, Lively and Reynolds, were aware that others planned to commit the tort of intentional interference with prospective economic relations against plaintiffs, and that each of the aforementioned defendants agreed with one another and intended that the wrongful acts pleaded herein be committed. Accordingly, each of the aforementioned defendants is equally liable to plaintiffs for the tort of intentional interference with prospective economic relations by reason of their conspiracy to commit the tort. Defendants Lively and Reynolds have engaged in the above alleged conduct, and the plaintiffs are entitled to an award of punitive and exemplary damages in an amount to be proved at trial. The seventh cause of action: negligent interference with prospective economic advantage against Reynolds and Lively. Same thing we always read in the first one. Plaintiffs and WME were in an economic relationship that probably would have resulted in an economic benefit to the plaintiffs. Lively and Reynolds knew of the relationship. Lively and Reynolds knew or should have known that this relationship would be disrupted if they failed to act with reasonable care. They failed to act with reasonable care. Defendants engaged in the wrongful conduct by threatening and or making demands that WME sever its economic relationship with the plaintiffs. The relationship was disrupted. The plaintiffs were harmed. Their wrongful conduct was a substantial factor in causing the plaintiffs harm. The prayer for relief: for a money judgment representing the compensatory damages, including consequential damages, lost wages, earnings, and all other sums of money, together with interest on those amounts, and an amount to be proven at trial, but in no event less than $400 million. Well, Lord, we have to get some afterpay on that now. For an award of money judgment for mental pain and anguish and severe and serious emotional distress as applicable in an amount to be proven at trial. For pre and post judgment interest, for punitive damages according to proof, for attorney fees caused and accrued by the plaintiffs as applicable, for such other legal and equitable relief as the court deems appropriate. Demand for a jury trial. Plaintiffs demand a jury on all causes of action so triable. Boom, boom, boom. There's all that. There's that. And here we are. Well, my goodness gracious, y'all. I have never. How many of us think, okay, so drop a number 1 if you think it will go to trial. Drop a number 2 if you think it will settle. I am going to go ahead and cast my vote. I think it will go to trial. I cannot imagine that Ryan and Lively will settle. I mean, I'm just like, I think that it's going to be, I think that they're going to be, it's almost going to be like, they're going to dig their heels in. You know what I'm saying? So to speak. Two, but nowhere near 400 million. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of twos, a lot of ones. It'll be I think it's in their best interest to settle, because I feel like just what we saw there, I mean, there's so much proof there, right? I mean, I still want to read her side of it, but I mean, just the evidence that he's brought forth, I'm like, how do you talk your way out of that? Now, here's this question. Hold on one second. Can y'all still hear me? Yeah, God, this will be a mega low ball. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and Patrina says her record. Okay, you can hear me up. What money will win over ego? Stock chat says, yeah. It'll be interesting to see because if they use their common sense and they saw Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, it's like, no, don't go to trial. Don't do it. Don't do it. Now, let me ask y'all this. So, if they come when they, I don't know if you want to hear Oliver's in their plan. It sounds like they're killing each other, but they're not. Bo, Luke. Goodness gracious. Hold on one second. Let me grab them. Bo, Luke, come here. Come here. Mr. Tweak. This one right here. Say hello. See, it's the witching hour. See, I'm being drugged around the house by my brothers, and I love it. See, hey. Barking at everybody. Mm-hmm. The kisses on the cheek. We don't need it in the mouth. Yes, I know. See, I spend my evenings barking. Yes, you do. It's okay. Yes. Okay, so if anybody saw, did any of y'all see the released footage that they put out of Justin's team released basically like the unedited pardon me, like the okay. See, hold on. Let me give him back because he's like his brothers are in there. Is it time to go back and play? See, I don't want to be held now. Okay, let me put him back over the cage. There you go. I've got one of their little miniature fences blocking off, like the place is split in two, basically. Okay, so let's see, right back to it. So I know, right? He's got facsimiles to do. He's got filing to do. Yeah, if you heard, like, it's super quiet around here all day long. I swear, like the dogs literally just sleep all day, and then it gets evening, and I mean Luke does not stop. Okay, I'm talking, he does not stop. And then Bo, like earlier, Luke was in his crate and he was chewing on the tag on his little what do you call it? His blanket or whatever. I'm talking Bo was ticked off over that. I'm massive meltdown. I mean, and Bo has like a desperate, like they have very distinct barks, and Bo has this extremely desperate sound to his bark, like he's just absolutely losing it or getting killed. Whereas that's just a yippy, yippy yappy Yorkie bark that you hear Luke doing. So whenever Bo barks, it's more like, okay, I need to go check on that because that could be multiple things. You know what I'm saying? Like that could be Luke has a toy. That could be I'm dying. That could be I'm starving. That kind of thing. Whereas Luke, it's like, Luke, shut up. You know, he just wants to rile everybody up. Okay. So now that video that they put out, the unedited, like the uncut, like, you know, thing of the dance scene. If you've seen it, just Google it. It's on TMZ. Okay. So what it is you're seeing Blake and Justin doing the dancing scene. Whatever. You're hearing the director direct the background people and all that type of stuff, whatever. So you're hearing now, what's her name? Lively originally said that there's no mic, but there is. And so you can hear them talking. And again, like the atmosphere is like they're supposed to be like we've just, you know, met, we're kind of falling in love, we're blah, 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 blah. Now I've seen two different versions of this, and y'all tell me what you think. So when I watched it, and when I hold on, not that I've seen two versions of it, I've read different theories on it in comment sections. So when I watch it, it's definitely obvious that it's like they're talking and they're laughing, but there's that awkwardness, and they're maybe just trying to talk and do a certain vibe. And, you know, he'll be like, meaning Justin will be like, okay, cut, and then we'll do this, and we'll go off. When I was watching it, my first impression, I was like, oh, wait a second. I think she likes him. Like, there was multiple times where I just got a vibe of like that. She was like, I mean, he's a good looking dude, right? And I mean, it's like, so I got that vibe. Now I saw another person talking about a comment section, which I was like, I can see this part too, but I don't know. Where when they're talking about the, oh, you smell good, it smells good or whatever. And there's a moment where she looks uncomfortable. And I don't know where that vibe is coming from. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, please hold. Look. Look. Come. Go. Come. Look. Come. Yes. Go. Come. Go. Come. Go. Look. Come. Oh, we need to open your car. Bo won't stand up on his hind legs so I can pick him up over the thing. He just kind of he like does this thing like he's parking. I figured I'd be. This is Jake. What's going on? Are you playing? See, I'm just now learning to sit. Um, uh-uh. So basically, yeah, so Calamity, yeah. So there's several things. So one is, so Shannon says the scene is supposed to show that they're into each other, nothing else around that matters, and it's supposed to be Riley wants to kiss Lily, and she is playing hard to get. So maybe that's why I'm seeing the uncomfortable, because there's a moment of like she looks uncomfortable. Now her team is saying this shows exactly what we're talking about. He's out of character and he's doing this, and his lips caress her, whatever. And but what I saw, it's like she has this vibe, and I mean, unless they're acting or whatever, of like, I don't know. I got this vibe that she was into like into him or something. Um and so like one comment section I saw where people are like, yes, this 100% proves that he did what she said. And other people were like, I don't think so. Like he was, you know, doing this or doing that. Like, you know, she's saying, oh, well, the coordinator wasn't there. And then like when in another scene she did this, I don't know. So Styles says, I saw the clip. Justin is clearly an experienced and masterful actor because he could go from romantic lead to director in a split second. But Blake looked like she was trying to flirt with him. Yeah, right. It's almost like this is also kind of another vibe I got, that she was almost just like, I want to make him fall in love with me. And why is he going back to director role? Because I mean, it's like he's whispering sweet nothings. I mean, Blake, what's interesting about Blake is like, depending on which, especially on camera, I mean, he has that lead. I meant Blake, I meant Justin. He has that leading man, chiseled chin. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. I forgot what I was saying when he's talking to you, kind of vibe. And maybe she couldn't handle that. I mean, you just never know. Yes, the movie's over, she saw it, and that's the other thing. She never studied the part. So there's a lot of stuff that it's like she just missed out on. You know what I'm saying? So, Tori, how's it going? That's Luke. I mean, we're just talking a regular old jamboree. Oh, yeah, I totally believe that Ryan was jealous. Yeah, Style says she was always more of a Nepo baby than a trained actor. And that's kind of the vibe that I got. Because, like, when she took over the wardrobe, talking about, the Louis Vuittons, and I'm seeing interviews where she was like, a lot of those clothes were mine. Like, she's so proud of that. And it's like, well, look, in a normal situation, if, like, this warranted it or whatever, yeah, that'd be great if you did the wardrobe for your character and did this, but it was like you weren't dressing your character. It was like she was creating a character, a Blake character. That's the vibe that I got. It was almost like this was going to be her pet project that she launched some businesses off of, and you know, did several things like that or whatever. I don't know. Okay, Ryan's defense, Blake was texting her at 2 a.m. Now, see, that would be a little bit like, I've always, yes, Sal says she loved how they showed the close up of her Louboutins because they didn't go with their character. That was the thing. Yeah, and like now I'm seeing all this content on like TikTok showing close ups of her outfits, and people are like, huh? Why is she wearing that? Next book. Okay, so yeah, next book, y'all. Um, I have started, well, number one, a forum faction on the Jean Benet Ramsey case. And then I put feelers out to people asking about a similar book about kind of like what we just read with Ruby's, or I'm sorry, with Sherry's book. This, like victim center, inspiring story. And I'm seeing a lot of people talk about a book, Where Was God? It's one of the Turpin kids. I think the oldest daughter that got away wrote it. So probably, so number one, the baseline is going to be forum faction, but that could be like I might be doing two at once is what I'm getting at. So I'm gonna say, so repeat this. So a forum faction is for sure the next book we're gonna do. Jay. And I'll do a post on it. But a forum faction. Well, where's my phone? All right, here. Hold on, let me put this dog down. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, yes, Jennifer Turpin. Yeah, a lot of people have said that it's really good. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about Sherry's book. Oh my god, it was so good. Okay, please hold. Where is? Oh, here it is. I'm listening to the Let Them theory. Excuse me. Where is? Okay, we did that one. Foreign fact. Okay, here it is. I don't want to do that. I mean, hold on, I'm trying to pull this up so I can tell you. I'll do an official post on it too. Yeah, Jersey says she's trying too hard to be Carrie Bradshaw. 100%. 100%. Yeah. This is Luke is gonna drive us crazy. Luke, I'm gonna be there in a minute. Hold on. Okay, where did it go? Foreign faction, foreign faction, foreign faction. I just saw it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, here it goes.
This is one.
Well, I wanted to be. What was that? It's called Foreign Faction by James Kohler. There it is. I mean, yeah, I've never. Foreign Faction, A. James Kohler, who really kidnapped JonBenet Ramsey. Oh, man, I can't wait for this. 10 hours and 23 minutes at normal level. Oh, and Luke has so many stuff things, whatever. He just is like, his personality has never matched any of the other dogs, even his little brother. Like, he kind of vibes with one of the, I mean, they play with him and stuff like that, but like the other dogs are like way more chill. Like his brother Bo, way chill, but Luke's calming down though. I mean, I know y'all are like, seriously, but like this used to be all day long. Like from the time you get up, and now like Luke will cuddle up at nighttime. And so he has that like snuggly wuggly, all that kind of stuff. You know, he sleeps most of the day. Jennifer says, my new puppy is a nightmare of the pack. No, right? Oh, God. Remind me again, Jennifer, what kind of dog did you get? How old is it? Oh, have y'all seen also? So Dominique, my eyes are giving out, y'all. So I apologize if I get names wrong now. Dominique says, hold on, I can't. All the crews on movies hated her as soon as she started questioning the lights. Yeah, and there's another thing that she did. Who's the girl that from Twilight and the singing things? There's like all these interviewing interviews are coming back up where it's like she's so like none of her coworkers like her. Drake is scared of Luke's barking. We're scared of Luke's barking, right? Wow, he gave up Scarlett Johansson for Blake. Okay. Mary Ann, I think it says. Yeah, Kristen Stewart. No, not Kristen Stewart. She was like the friend at school, like the perky friend in the original Twilight. It was like, hey, I'm so and so. It's nice to meet you. Come sit at our table. Oh, Newfoundlands are so cute. Okay, yeah, so y'all, I'm gonna run because I'm talking massive puppy meltdown in the other room. I gotta go do some parenting and wrangle I gotta get my children wrangled up. Y'all, thank you for suffering through this whole thing with me. Oh my God. We finally made it through. There you go. So they can't go to trial because we won't survive it, right? I mean, it was all we do to get through this. So thank you, Emily. Thank you, Indy. Thank you, Tori. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I'll post the thing about the new book club thing and also the official time. We're going to try and do it at 6 on Saturday. So, but I did outpost or whatever on the things, but I'll post it Friday officially what it's going to be, the live chat with the book club, and that's it. So I do love y'all. I do appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. That's it. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you tomorrow at some point. Y'all have a lovely time. Sleep